The key takeaway from the 2017 budget speech is really high expenditure in an environment of low domestic and global economic growth. So the question becomes, how are we going to finance expenditures? The place at which the finance minister has announced has really come from mostly squeezing consumers more. So the higher tax bracket has increased from 41% to 45%. We're also seeing a sugar tax coming on later in the year and a carbon tax as well as an increase in a fuel levy to 30 cents per litre, as well as the road accidents fund of 9 cents per litre. So the question really becomes, since we've squeezed all the possible areas of revenue that we can, if we do undershoot in terms of economic growth and we don't achieve 1.3% growth this year, which historically has been a trend that we're usually far too optimistic about growth projections, if that happens, then we're really in trouble, because there are few areas in which increased revenues could potentially come from. The real area where increased revenue should come from is from real structural reforms which have been announced in previous decades and which today's budget speech was still relatively thin on. So there hasn't really been an announcement as how we're going to change the South African economy from being so influenced and dependent on the external commodity cycle. So we continue to see growth only when externally commodity prices are up, and the South African economy suffers when commodity prices are down. The only way we can extract ourselves from that commodity loop is to really have structural reforms where we have a diversified economy and more labour absorbed into a diversified set of sectors, and where the state withdraws from being the main provider of jobs and allows the private sector to take on that role.